hold on tight. 'Cause you know tomorrow may not bring that same thing that you said last night. Woo! Every time I find a little peace of mind, I hold on tight. 'Cause tomorrow may not bring the very same thing. No, no, no. Said none of the right there. You that care all. Just for me, I'm so glad that you that care all. Just for me, I'm so glad that you that care all. For a sinner like me. Okay, we got him into shape. We got him out of the hospital. They put him on bond. The shooting was in 1968. The trial didn't begin until the fall of 1970. Here's another program that they used that we were unaware of. Every time they saw my brother, they arrested him. If he wasn't doing anything, they fabricated something. But by the time he gets to court, he's got a rap sheet that looks like the tallest building in Denver at that particular time. So now he's beginning to look like a criminal.
So what you're implying is not only the shooting, not only the narrative that they brought out at 6 o'clock in the morning, but you're saying they cooperated together into arresting him and making sure that this particular young black man will be scarred for life.
Life, correct. And if you know anything about Denver, because I seen it, the Denver Police Department used to have a little black book, and they used to have people in the book. The thieves was in there, the car thieves was in there, the junkies was in there. My brother was in there. A little black book. I can't recall exactly what it said, but when they give these guys these little black books, they used to arrest him every weekend. I swear, I was with him a couple of times even, and it was hard for us back then to just be teenagers, just to be alive.
That's why I'm glad that you were willing to share this story and speak for your brother who went through this because, like I said, just in New York, another black person got shot running. We hear about, Floyd. You can go on and incidences and a lot of things that no one really touch about is okay, at that time when they come out with the narrative, that's one thing. But what you're implying is this racism, I guess is the word what it is. They turn around and now they're harassing, they're lying, they're enforcing their authority on someone that they know can't get out of this because we have the blue honor or the policeman's code and all that kind of stuff. So let's get on. We're in the courtrooms or 2 years down the road. So when they come into court, what are their arguments? Or when you said you went up to the place, did you all ever find any evidence or anything that could help your brother?
I asked him when he was in the hospital, did you still have that toy gun? And he said yes. But we couldn't find it. The police couldn't find it. I didn't know where it was at. No one knew where it was at. So I went back, me and my stepdad, we went back in search of that gun. If you are familiar with the area, there's a library up there now, but the asphalt ends and there's some dirt. And I found the gun broken in part in the dirt. And so I immediately called the police. They sent out an investigative squad or whatever, and it had rained like on Sunday, and I think I found it like on Monday. And they came and they got the gun, and they kind of pieced it back together. And then the first thing they wanted to tell me and say, "This is not the gun he had. He had to have a real gun." And I was like, "Going, this is the gun." But anyway, that was the last time I saw that gun. I don't know where that gun is today.
Well, they did their forensic, and that can't be the gun because we got shells and fragments of the real gun. So you can't come up here saying that what this toy gun is what they were talking about. So all of
Correct.
that's mute. I just want to ask you, do you believe or do you think that this is the gun was in the back seat of my man's car?
Yes, because there was a guy, and God only knows, I had to read all those papers to figure out the article. There was a guy that took the gun out of my brother's hand, and he did that. And I believe that this particular person that did that could have been a police informant. And so he was protecting the police. He was not protecting my brother. Okay. And he told me a half a year later or so that he took the gun out of my brother's hand. And
Wait,
I
wait,
didn't
wait, whoa, whoa,
understand.
whoa, whoa, wait. You're saying that somebody came to you. Now we're already 2 years down, like a year later down the road, and just out of the blue decided to tell you this information. I mean, why would he? Why do you believe he was saying anything to you?
Well, okay, now when they asked a bunch of the youth, remember I told you between 200 to 300 youth were there, and there
Yeah.
were a lot of witnesses. No one wanted to get involved because they were afraid of the Denver Police Department and their machines. If you recall, back in those days, somebody had bombed the Mayfield's garage. Before the shooting, there were paintings on Pilgrim Rest Church that the Minutemen were going to come and intervene in the black gathering of the youth. Denver was going to create their own black movement. At that time, the Black Panthers and different programs were going on. And so Denver created their own little riot scene, man, for the nation.
No, I remember
And
those days. I remember
yeah,
literally my mother and them cops got through with me. They couldn't even recognize me, but they got through dogging me out. So I know what you're talking about. I can
yeah.
believe it.
So out of 300 youths, I think that there were only about five. I can remember Mr. Chapman, he testified. Ronnie Morales testified. Those two stick out in my mind because there's another story about that, and I'll tell you about that if we have time. We were wearing afros, if you remember, and Ronnie had one of the biggest afros in Denver. And so when we were in court, the judge and we were wearing leather, and so they thought that everybody that wore leather were Black Panthers or something. I don't know what they were thinking. When Ronnie came in with his big afro, the judge said, anybody in here that's wearing a wig, please take your wig off. So my mom started taking hers off.
Wait a minute. Come on.
No, I'm not talking to you, ma'am. I'm talking to that guy back there. And Ronnie was like, sir, this is not a wig. This is my real hair.
Let's get
But
on into this trial.
so we're in this trial, and they had about three groups for the jury. Okay. And so they weeded a few out here and there, and they ended up with 11 white people and one black. I went every day as a family member, my mother, my dad, myself. The lawyers that we had Lewis and Cole, they were provided to us by our church. I had a lawyer at the time, and my lawyer told me that they had told a lot of the white lawyers not to take my brother's case. So that meant that they knew that this wasn't going to turn out well. And I wish we would have gotten that lawyer for the Black Panthers or something like that. And then also, like I said, the Tuskegee Airmen had talked to my stepdad, and he didn't think that we needed to go through all of that to do anything to really protect my brother, because he realized that it was impossible for him to have done what they said that he did. So none of us thought that it was possible for them to come up with a guilty verdict.
So what you're saying is we were so naive till we honestly thought that after 200 years or so that somebody's going to treat you right, treat you fair.
That was the brainwashing, brother. That was we were war orphans. We were a military family. You know, my dad died during the Korean conflict. We were Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, church going people. We didn't think that these kind of things happened in America.
Yeah, we were naive. We know now. We know the
Yes.
importance of those Panther groups and things. So,
Well,
okay, the heat was on. We're in the trial. Can you give us like a synopsis of what they were coming at Nathan with, and what the defense was, and then we'll
okay.
get into how it all panned out.
I think even our lawyers must have been naive, because they put my brother on the stand to tell his story. It's all documented in the newspaper articles that I sent you. It's all documented. If there are any people that want to look this up in the Rocky Mountain News and Denver Post in the library, all the young black kids told their side of the story, what they saw and what really went on. My brother testified. I didn't testify. They didn't want me to testify, so I didn't.
You found the
Uh,
gun.
Figured I was his brother, so I would lie and cheat and steal. I don't know. Uh, but anyway, like, you could look at the jury's face and see the way they dropped their heads to the stories and stuff that they heard. That, to me, it seems like they couldn't believe it, but they didn't come back with the verdict that we thought they were going to come back with. They called us on a Saturday morning. We had to be ushered in the back of the courthouse on a Saturday when the verdict came down. There was nobody in the courthouse. I think there might have been a couple of reporters, and the verdict came in, and the verdict came back guilty. And then, to really pour a little salt in the wound, they allowed us to talk to the jury, and no one in the jury would talk to our family except the black dude that was on the jury, and he was a janitor. And this is what he said, and I'll quote verbatim: "I tried to hold out, but I couldn't hold out." So you voted he was guilty? And so, do I need to say more? I mean, peer pressure, whatever. A lot of our people don't understand mistrials and all of that. And that's what generation we're beginning to understand the law a little bit better. We're beginning to get better results in these courthouses. But back in those days, we did not understand the law. We didn't understand the machine. We didn't understand systematic racism. We didn't understand the news media picks a side. And lo and behold, all of these things happened, and they went against the black family, the black boy, the black person, my brother, and he lost.
What were they saying Nathan did?
In the end, the verdict came down They stated that they were in an unmarked car. They had their uniforms on, but they kind of claimed that nobody really knew that they were the police. So he was found guilty of assault with a deadly weapon on a person, not a police officer.
Wait a minute. Just give me 1 second to process. The Denver policeman shot. Now we don't know if he was shot with a 357 or a 22, but we found a fragment in the car, but we didn't find no bullet in the person that got shot. Is that so far correct?
Correct.
Then we go to trial, and 11-1. I see how that happened. Then we go to trial. They come up with he shot somebody, but it wasn't the police.
Correct.
Then who is the person that was shot?
Well, by law, check that word out. By law, he shot a white man.
Wait a minute. Come on, man. We talking about cops and robbers. We talking about policemen and humans. And now you done turned it into he shot an invisible white man.
That's the way the law reads.
So you can't even.
He was.
You can't shoot an invisible white man.
He was.
That's against the law, people. Remember that. You cannot shoot an invisible white man. Go ahead, my brother.
Well, a black guy can. Black people can. With a toy gun, even.
Okay.
It's possible. Okay. By law, you can do that. Because if you remember the young little teenager up in Illinois with that toy gun, when them police pulled up and he was playing cops and robbers by himself and they shot him dead. Emil Rice, is that his name?
I remember the case. I do. He's in that little playground, little young boy.
Yeah, the little young kid, 12 years old. Nobody got in any trouble for that. So what the verdict came back is this is what they said. Well, he didn't know that those were police officers, so we'll give him a pass on that. But he shot a man because they showed some picture of the back of somebody's head with a scratch on it.
Okay, wait a minute. I gotta stop you again.
Okay.
You're saying a picture of the back of somebody's head, not a gun wound, but a scratch,
was shaved. It was shaved. A little circle was shaved off, and there was a little scratch back there. This was the shot because the police left the parking lot and immediately rushed his partner to the hospital.
But then they have hospital records, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then what did the hospital records say?
It said he had been grazed by a bullet.
I guess what they say go. Is that how that works?
That's how it works. What they say goes.
Did Chapman come and talk about the gun as well?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
That's good. But it didn't work.
No. The truth didn't work. The truth did not prevail.
And they arrested a military man that fights for the country because he made a comment. He said something they didn't like. Not derogatory, just made a statement. We tired of you shooting our youth.
Correct.
So what happened to my man after he was found guilty?
Now this should blow this story clean out of the water. I read over the articles again. One paper said a 1 to 5 in Canyon City. The other one said 1 to 8. My brother was sentenced to a 1 to 3 in the state reformatory, Buena Vista, not Canyon City, because he was only 18 at the time. He was 17 at the time it happened, and he turned 18. They kept putting the ages up to make him seem older.
So they can
You
get him
know,
as an adult too, probably.
right? Yeah, our birthdays came late in. Our birthdays was late in the year. No, he was 18. They said he was 19.
Okay.
Yeah, he was only 18. But anyway, so they sent him. They gave him a 1 to 3 in the Colorado State Reformatory. They whisked him away that Saturday afternoon after we took him. After we all went down there, and they took him away then. That Saturday. So nobody sees all of this but the family. We seen it all. Nobody seen him in the hospital and the surgeries and all the pain and all the stuff that he had to go through.
What about your mother? And I mean, she just went through this with you, and you know
Yes,
how
Lord.
that affected them. Now, here this comes with her child, her oldest child, and then to understand that this kind of injustice is happening to her child, to child. What does this do to a family when a cop shooting like this happens and everything's turned against you?
It's like we became members of a club that you don't want to join. When this kind of stuff happens, first of all, we all were under investigation, probably by the FBI. We probably all have dossiers and all of that. And we came back squeaky clean because back in those days, we were squeaky clean. They were probably hoping that they had shot somebody that didn't quite have the record and the stuff that we had, but you can't pick the people out. And I don't know how you get to be a victim, but we were the victims. We all were in mental anguish. I don't know how to describe it. It was awful dark in my house. It was like we were. I had fallen. My dad had fallen. My dad had died. I had fallen. My brother had fallen. My mother had fallen ill. My stepdad had fallen ill, and we all was just probably clinging to each other for survival and our friends. Because all the other people in Denver, I used to go over a friend's house and his parents read the newspaper and all of that stuff, and they would say stuff to me like, "Oh, that was your brother that shot the police, isn't it?" And it'd be like, oh, it would just break your heart to hear black people talk like that because they believed that everything in the media was true. Look where we're at now, 50 something, 54, 55 years later, and now you can hardly believe the stories that are in the newspaper anymore. They're not making any sense anymore. Our politicians been caught lying. The president was caught lying. uh the whole system is being tested now. I don't know where we're going from here.
A lot of people do have ideas about where they're gonna go. I'm going to the throne, and don't get me wrong, I'm not into no blonde, blue eyed, nothing like that at all. Okay, I just want to make you understand it's not that, and that's not who I see when I say I'm going to the throne. And I don't have no power to change the world or anything like that, but I will continue to just ask the universe, the powers that may be. I call it God. Okay, that's so we won't get hung up. You know that this situation that we're dealing with in America will kind of ease up on our people. And I think our people need to know a lot more about the law, not so easily led by what you read or what you hear, to take a little time to investigate. And I also think that what you brought up was something very important as well. We need to teach our children. That little play gun stuff, like you're talking about, is sad, but we can't play cowboys and robbers no more. We used to could do that. We can't even wear our hair the way we want to wear our hair without being targeted, without being your fingers pointed. You're this. So I thank you so much for coming in and sharing that story with us.
And thank you for having me, man. Thank you for allowing me to tell my family story.
Hey, anytime. Well, another episode of Where Were You? And we would like to thank our guests for this evening. Also want to thank New Me. New Me helps sponsor Where Were You? So go on and check it out. New Me /Arkway. Also, go on and hit that like. Go on and hit subscribe. Go on and hit that share. Go on and leave a comment. And if you find anyone that has a story, let me know. And hey, you bless someone today.